Hey YouTube, we got 6 action camera tips coming up for you. Hope you enjoy. Alright, so we're here for your first tip. First tip, GoPro mounts. They're adhesive. How do you get them to stick better? Can you crazy glue them and that'll be like a super adhesive? No. All you need is a heat gun. You can get these pretty cheap from some hardware stores, or grab mom's hair dryer, or your own hair dryer if you got a hair dryer. Who cares if you got a hair dryer, right? So what you want to do is get this nice and warm, and likewise you want to get your helmet warm, especially on a cold day. You don't want a cold helmet and put some warm adhesive on. Make sure your helmet's warm, keep it in the house, warm it up. And then on these, if I'm using the heat gun, I like to get it just so the edges of the red backing start to curl up, and you can peel them right off, stick them on, boom. Just like that. That sucker's not going anywhere. She's gonna stay on there. You're gonna hit trees with it, I do. Low-hanging branches and all, and that GoPro's going to stay on there, because you strap $400 to your head. You want to make sure $400 is still on your head when you get done with your ride. You don't want to have to go back and try and find a black GoPro somewhere. So that's going to lead us into step 2. Alright, so step 2, tethers. You can buy these. These are adhesive mounts, so you can do the same trick with them. Heat them up, stick them on somewhere. Maybe you want to have a GoPro mounted to your handlebars. You can stick it somewhere on by your handlebars, maybe your stem cap, and you have these little black threads, and you tie it off, and you tie it to your GoPro. You can tie it to the GoPro cage. You can tie it through the mount where the bolt goes. You can get any type of string, honestly, to do it, and you don't have to use one of these tethers. You can tie it off. Literally just tie a knot, you know. If you don't have anywhere else you're comfortable tying to, maybe the string's going to be in the way or whatever. Zip ties. Put a zip tie on your frame, on your handlebars, on your chainstay, wherever you want it. You can put it right near the GoPro. Run your string through it. Run your string through the GoPro. So now your GoPro is tied off, and you don't have to worry about your $400 GoPro winding up somewhere on the trail, even if your adhesive does fail. Alright, so on to the next tip. Now, as I've got my full face helmet, a nice, somewhat flat spot on there where I could put a GoPro mount, sometimes helmets don't always have the spot where you can put a GoPro mount. You get something like this. This is last year's model Fox Flux. I've been wearing this for a while, but there's no even spot on here that'll fit a GoPro. Everything's got a little peak to it. So what did I do? A GoPro wrist mount. So this is an off-branded wrist mount, but it's basically a strap that goes around your wrist, and it's got a plate on it. And on that, I mounted my GoPro. It wraps down through the vents. You can do this on cross-country style helmets, any type of helmet with any type of venting. I like to leave it more towards the back, so when I'm, sighting in my camera, I can get a little bit of that peak there, the helmet. Just helps the viewer out, have that steady constant right there. And you don't really have to worry about it coming off. You'll hear the Velcro rip, and hopefully you will. But that's been working pretty good for me. All my headshots so far have been this way. So now once you've figured out how you're going to mount it, get your mount situated, you get your action camera mounted up, you just can't get it tight in the mount. The mount still wants to move. What I've done before is taken some 400 grit sandpaper, just lightly sand inside the grooves there. It helps a little bit with the grip. You don't want to take away material because you're only going to make your problems worse. But just roughs it up and gets a little bit of that slick plastic broke down, so it's got a little more surface tension. But what you can do, you got a multi-tool, don't you? Silly. Yeah, there's a Phillips head inside there. Crank that sucker down. And if you really want to go bling, and you really want to spend some money, it's not a lot of money, and GoPro makes these. It is an actual wrench. It mounts right on there, and you just crank it down. Hey, it works, it's small. You can fit it in your pocket, and you're not going to notice it in there like you would a multi-tool sitting in your pocket. So on the fly adjustments, boom. And best part, it's got a bottle opener. So that leads us into our next part. What do you do if it gets knocked loose? How do you know? Well, you spend all that time getting everything lined up, and what you wind up doing is scribing it with a paint marker. Get any color paint marker you want, and you just take it. Once you get your mount lined up, maybe you're using your cell phone. I have a session, so I use a cell phone. I get everything lined up, and then what I do is I take it off like it's on my helmet, and then I take my trusty paint marker, make a little scribe mark across there. I can go right back to it. So if I'm riding down the trail, I crash, or I hit my head on a tree and it does move it, I can always go right back to my default setting, get me right back where I have to go. I don't have to worry about pulling my phone out, lining anything back up, or just kind of shooting from the hips and, hey, I guess it's good. And this works on your gimbals too. So you can set your gimbal up where you turn it and mark it. I have mine set up so where I'm standing, it works. And when I get down to the attack position on my bars, I also have a mark. So I have one mark on the motor, 2 marks on the mount for my camera. So stand up, attack position. So that's something else you can consider right there. Works for me. You're always bumping your gimbal. You bump it with your arms, you move it, try and clean it. Oh, what do? Boom, set it right back because you made paint marks. You can get these from Walmart, craft stores, CVS, anywhere. You could use a Sharpie. Now some people scribe it. They'll take something and they'll etch the plastic, scratch it across. That works too. If you're out in the woods and you're like, oh man, I don't have a paint marker and I want to do this, get a rock. It's good. You'll get it, you know? So we're gonna move on to the next tip. So this next tip is something nobody should be without. Dead cats. So on top of my action camera, I have 2 microphones. Some have more, some have less. My session has 1 mic up in the corner. So put these little fuzzy critters on there, right? What are they? Well, these are little fuzzy Don King haircuts there, you know? And you can use some scissors, trim them up, get them down to where you want it. The bushier the better, so you might trim off too much, so be careful, be warned on that one. These come from Rycoat. Pick these up off of Amazon. They're about 20 bucks, but it comes in a whole pack of them, so you get a lot, you know, more than you'll need. They come with these little tabs here. It's just a little tail there, but it's a round circle, double stick tape. It's got a hole in the middle, so what I've had to do is cut it down the middle and notch it, put it together so it's more of a diamond shape in the middle, and then I can fit those over these, trim up your dead cats, fit them over top of it, trim down the hairs. It still fits in my case. I don't usually use the case. The case is on here basically for this video. I usually put my session up here, but it still fits in the case, no problems, and it helps so much with the wind noise. So if you're watching my videos and you hear wind noise, that's with these. And without those, I've tried it. It's unbearable. It's horrible. It's just like somebody just blowing in the microphone the whole time. So definitely a must-have on these dead cats. Now you can buy some fuzz, foam, whatever you want to call it, the fur from the craft stores, and make your own. It'll probably come out a little cheaper. By the time you're done sourcing everything, you can just go one click, Amazon, boom, they come to your door, and you're set to go. So there you have it. We've got the hair dryer trick, we've got the dead cats, we've got the tethers, paint your alignment, wrist strap for your helmet. Don't forget that. That's awesome little tip there. And tightening, wrench, Phillips head. Hey, if you like this video, give me that thumbs up down below there. And you know what? Hit that subscribe button, why don't you? You know, hit the bell icon while you're at it. You'll get notified every time I put out a new video. I do rides, I do tips and tricks. Hey, if there's something else you want to see, leave it in the comments below. I'll respond. Have a good day. Keep riding.